The signal. Commander Maya Chen stood at the viewport of the independent vessel Helios, watching the stars streak by as they cruised through the edge of explored space. The ship had been her home for 5 years now, ever since she'd left Earth Command to pursue a life of exploration beyond the bureaucracy and politics of the United Earth government. "Commander, we're picking up something unusual," said Elias, her communications specialist. His voice carried a hint of uncertainty that immediately caught Maya's attention. She moved across the bridge, the metal deck plates humming beneath her boots. The Helios wasn't fancy, a repurposed mining vessel with reinforced hulls and engines that worked most of the time. But it was hers, and her crew of 12 was the family she'd chosen. "What have you got?" Maya asked, leaning over the console. Elias's fingers danced across the holographic interface. "It's a signal, but unlike anything in our database. Not human, not from any known species we've encountered." "Source." "That's the strange part," Elias replied, adjusting the parameters on his display. "It's coming from the Scutum Crux arm, about 3 light years from our position. There's nothing mapped in that sector." Maya studied the waveform undulating across the screen. It had a distinctive pattern, 3 short bursts, followed by a longer pulse, repeating at consistent intervals. "It's a distress signal," she said quietly. Kisum, her first officer, had joined them, his dark eyes narrowed with concern. "We should report this to Earth Command before proceeding." Maya considered this briefly. Earth Command would tell them to maintain position and wait for a properly sanctioned first contact team. That would take weeks, maybe months. "Put it on speaker," she ordered instead. A haunting sound filled the bridge, like the echo of a whale's song, but with mechanical overtones. There was something desperate in its rhythm, something unmistakably urgent. "Plot a course," Maya decided. "We're investigating." Kasim frowned. "Protocol states." "We're an independent vessel, Kasum. We don't answer to Earth Command protocols anymore." She softened her tone. "If someone needs help, we can't just ignore it." 12 hours later, the Helios dropped out of FTL at the coordinates of the signal. What greeted them wasn't the empty void they'd expected, but a graveyard of ships, or what remained of them. Twisted metal, fragmented hulls, and debris formed a dark cloud around a small moon orbiting a gas giant. "Scan for life signs," Maya ordered, her voice tight. Nadia, the ship's science officer, worked her station with practiced efficiency. "I'm detecting faint energy signatures on the far side of the moon. There's a small vessel, and it's still transmitting the signal. Any signs of whatever caused this destruction?" "None that I can detect, Commander, but radiation signatures suggest these ships were destroyed less than 72 hours ago." Maya weighed her options. "Take us in slowly. Shields at maximum. Weapons systems on standby." As they navigated through the debris field, evidence of the battle became clearer. These weren't human ships, nor did they match any known alien design. The construction was elegant, with sweeping lines and crystalline components now shattered and dark. When they finally located the source of the signal, Maya felt her breath catch. A small vessel, perhaps 1/5 the size of the Helios, had taken refuge in a crater on the moon's surface. Its hull was scorched and damaged, but somehow still intact. "They're scanning us," Elias reported. Before Maya could respond, the view screen flickered to life. The face that appeared was distinctly alien. Translucent skin revealing a network of luminescent veins, large almond-shaped eyes of deep indigo, and no visible mouth. Yet somehow, words formed in Maya's mind. "Help, please. They will return." Maya stepped forward. "I am Commander Maya Chen of the independent vessel Helios. We received your distress call." "You are human." The thought voice seemed surprised. "We did not expect humans to respond. You are far from your territories. We're explorers. Who are you? What happened here?" "I am Blissara of the Vorith. We were a peaceful expedition studying stellar phenomena. The Nexus Collective found us. Images flashed in Maya's mind. Massive ships, angular and soulless, weapons of terrifying power, and the systematic destruction of the Vorith fleet. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Who is this collective? They are ancient. They believe in efficiency above all. Species they deem inefficient or unpredictable are eliminated. We were judged. Lacking. Kasim spoke up, his voice grim. How many of you survived? 23. Our systems fail. Air recyclers damage. We have perhaps one solar cycle remaining. Maya didn't hesitate. We'll help you. We can take your survivors aboard our ship. A wave of gratitude washed over her mind. The collective will return. They always ensure no witnesses remain. Let them come, Maya said firmly. We'll be gone before they arrive. You do not understand. Their technology far exceeds yours. Their sensors will detect your FTL signature. They will hunt you across the stars for interfering. Maya exchanged glances with her crew. Each face showed resolve, not fear. Then we better move quickly, she said. Within hours, the Helios had docked with the Vorith vessel. The aliens were even more striking up close. Tall, willowy beings with skin that seemed to shift colors with their emotions. They moved with a fluid grace that made humans seem clumsy by comparison. Lizara, their leader, stood a head taller than Maya. Our gratitude cannot be measured, Commander Chen. Few would risk themselves for strangers. It's what humans do, Maya replied simply. We help when we can. As they prepared to depart, Nadia's voice came urgently over the comm. Commander, multiple vessels dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system. Maya's heart sank. The collective. Matching the signatures from the wreckage. 3 large vessels, Commander. They'll be in weapons range in 20 minutes. Lizara's skin paled to an almost white translucence. They have returned sooner than anticipated. You must leave us. Save yourselves. Maya looked at the frightened Vorith, then at her own crew. She saw determination in their eyes, not fear. No, she said firmly. That's not how we do things. Commander, Kasim warned, we can't outrun them, and we certainly can't outfight them. Maya's mind raced. The Helios wasn't a warship, but she'd made certain modifications over the years, some less legal than others. We don't need to outfight them, she said slowly, a plan forming. We just need to outthink them. She turned to Lizara. You said they value efficiency. That means they follow patterns, protocols. They're predictable. Yes, their strength is their technological superiority, but they lack creativity. They cannot comprehend actions that defy logical efficiency. Maya smiled grimly. Then they've never faced humans before. She activated the ship-wide comm. All hands, prepare for emergency FTL jump. Elias, send an encrypted burst transmission to Earth Command with our coordinates and situation. Request immediate assistance. Kasim looked doubtful. Even if they respond, help would take days to arrive. I know, Maya replied, but we're not going to wait for help. We're going to show the collective what happens when you corner humans. As the Helios's engines powered up, Maya outlined her plan. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but it just might work. The Vorith watched with a mixture of hope and disbelief as the humans prepared to stand against an enemy that had effortlessly destroyed their entire expedition. Lizara approached Maya as the final preparations were made. You risk extinction for those you have just met. We do not understand. Maya smiled. Then let me show you. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our numbers. It's our refusal to accept impossible odds. The massive ships of the Nexus Collective loomed ever closer, their weapons charging. But aboard the Helios, there was no panic, only the focused determination of a species that had survived against all odds for millennia. They would not go quietly into the dark void. They would show the galaxy exactly what humans were made of. Humanity's answer. The Helios shuddered as its engines strained against physics itself. Instead of fleeing, Maya had ordered a seemingly suicidal maneuver directly toward the approaching collective vessels. "All power to forward shields," she commanded. "Divert life support to minimum levels. I want everything we've got protecting our bow." Kissim executed the orders, his fingers flying across the console. "Shields at 187% of recommended maximum. They'll hold for about 3 minutes before the emitters burn out." "That's all we need," Maya replied. She turned to Lizara, who stood with several other Vorith on the bridge, their luminescent veins pulsing with what Maya now recognized as anxiety. "Your people indicated the collective values efficiency and predictability. Will they expect a frontal assault from a vastly inferior vessel?" Lizara's large eyes blinked slowly. "It defies their conception of logic. They will assume you are attempting to surrender or self-destruct." "Perfect," Maya smiled grimly. "Elias, initiate the signal jamming protocols we used in the Proxima Centauri blockade run." Elias nodded, activating a system Maya had acquired through less than legal channels, a military-grade communications disruptor that would flood all frequencies with garbage data. It wouldn't stop the collective for long, but it would buy them precious seconds of confusion. "Nadia, prepare to launch all probes on my mark. Program them to emit human life signs and set them on scattered trajectories." On the view screen, the collective ships grew larger, massive angular constructs of dark metal with ominous energy signatures building along their weapon ports. "They're charging weapons," Kessin warned. "Stay on course," Maya ordered. "Weapons status: mining charges repurposed and ready. Electromagnetic pulse emitters at full capacity. Pulse shields active." "Yes, Commander. Our systems should be protected when we detonate." The collective ships began to slow, clearly surprised by the Helios' approach. As Maya had hoped, their logical protocols couldn't immediately account for such an irrational action. "They're attempting to scan us," Elias reported. "Deploy countermeasures." Throughout the ship, specialized emitters activated, creating false sensor readings that would show the Helios as heavily armed and carrying a much larger crew than it actually did. 800 meters to optimal range," Nadia announced, her voice steady despite the tension. "Launch probes." Dozens of small probes erupted from the Helios, each programmed to mimic human biosignatures. They scattered in all directions, a confusing swarm of potential targets. The lead collective vessel fired, a beam of searing energy that the Helios barely avoided with a last-second course correction. The ship groaned under the strain of the maneuver. "Now," Maya shouted. The mining charges, modified with enhanced explosive cores, launched toward the collective vessels. These weren't sophisticated weapons, but Maya wasn't aiming for their hulls. Instead, the charges detonated in precise patterns around the ships, creating a momentary energy feedback in their sensor arrays. In the second of confusion that followed, Maya gave her next command: "Activate EMP." The electromagnetic pulse emitter, another salvaged military technology, discharged its full capacity. Normally, such a weapon would be ineffective against advanced shielding, but the energy feedback from the mining charges had created a brief vulnerability in the collective's defensive systems. The pulse washed over the lead vessel. Its lights flickered, and its weapons powered down. The other two ships immediately adjusted their shields, but the momentary advantage was all Maya needed. "Full thrust, take us directly between them." The Helios shot forward, diving into the narrow gap between the disabled lead ship and its companions. As they passed, Kassim deployed their final surprise, a cloud of specially prepared nanites that attached to the collective ship's hulls. "Phase 2 complete," Maya announced. "Now we run." The Helios veered sharply away, accelerating to maximum speed. Behind them, the two functional collective vessels began pursuit, just as Maya had anticipated. "What did you accomplish?" Lizara asked, confusion evident in both her expression and the pulses of light beneath her skin. Maya's eyes remained fixed on the tactical display. "We just bought us time and gave them something to think about." Those nanites are reprogramming their external communication arrays to broadcast an encrypted signal, a signal that matches certain Earth military protocols. Understanding dawned on Kesim's face. You're making it look like we're part of a larger human fleet operation. Precisely, Maya nodded. And while they're trying to decode that signal and scanning for additional human vessels, we're leading them exactly where we want them to go. For 3 hours, the Helios stayed just beyond weapons range of the pursuing collective ships, occasionally dropping countermeasures to maintain the illusion of military capabilities. They were headed toward a densely packed asteroid field that Maya had spotted in the system survey. "Commander," Nadia called out, "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the collective vessels. They appear to be charging some form of long-range weapon." Estimated time to firing range: 7 minutes. Maya nodded calmly. Perfect timing. We'll reach the asteroid field in 6. She turned to address the crew. This is where it gets interesting. Kesim, activate the pirate protocols. A series of modifications that Maya had installed after a particularly nasty encounter with void pirates came to life. The Helios's engines reconfigured to vent plasma in ways that would create false sensor readings, making it appear as if the ship had suddenly split into 3 vessels. As they entered the asteroid field, Maya took manual control of the helm. The Helios dove and weaved between massive rocks with precision that belied its size. "They're following," Kesim reported, "but they're having difficulty maintaining their formation in the asteroid field." "Good," Maya replied. "Deploy the beacon drones." Small unmanned drones shot out from the Helios, attaching themselves to various asteroids throughout the field. Each began broadcasting a modified version of the Vorith distress signal. The collective ships hesitated, their sensors suddenly detecting multiple potential targets throughout the asteroid field. Their perfect formation broke as they spread out to investigate. "Now," Maya ordered, "full power to engines. Get us to the gas giant's upper atmosphere." The Helios shot out of the asteroid field, while the collective ships were still trying to identify the true target among the dozens of false signals. When they reached the gas giant, Maya ordered the ship to dive deep into its swirling clouds. The massive planet's electromagnetic storms would provide temporary cover from sensors. "All stop," she commanded once they were sufficiently submerged in the planet's atmosphere. "Power down all non-essential systems." The bridge fell into near darkness, emergency lighting casting red shadows across tense faces. "And now?" Kesim asked. "Now we wait," Maya replied. "Elias, any response to our transmission to Earth Command?" "Yes, Commander. 3 independent vessels in the sector are responding. ETA between 18 and 24 hours. Maya smiled. "Independent captains. Good. They won't wait for official orders." Lizura approached Maya, her translucent form glowing softly in the dimmed bridge. "Your tactics are unconventional. The collective will not anticipate such methods. That's humanity's greatest advantage," Maya explained. "We're unpredictable because we evolved facing constant threats. We learned to improvise, to use whatever tools we have available, and to never give up, even when the odds seem impossible." For the next 10 hours, they remained hidden within the gas giant's atmosphere, making occasional adjustments to prevent being crushed by the massive pressure. Meanwhile, the collective ships methodically searched the asteroid field, destroying each drone they discovered. When the ships finally gave up on the asteroid field and began scanning the rest of the system, Maya was ready. She had used the time to prepare the final phase of her plan. "They're approaching the gas giant," Nadia reported. "Scanning patterns suggest they've detected our residual energy signature." "Perfect," Maya replied. "Prepare the atmospheric ignition." During their wait, the engineering team had reconfigured several fuel cells into rudimentary ignition devices. Now they deployed them at precise coordinates throughout the surrounding atmosphere, rich in combustible gases. As the collective ships entered the planet's upper atmosphere, Maya gave the command, "Ignite." The devices activated simultaneously, creating a cascading reaction through the gas giant's hydrogen-rich clouds. A massive explosion erupted, expanding outward in a blinding shockwave that engulfed the pursuing vessels. The Helios rode the edge of the blast, its reinforced mining hull barely withstanding the strain as Maya piloted them out of the atmosphere and back into open space. On the view screen, they watched as one collective ship tumbled out of control, its systems clearly damaged. The second managed to stabilize but showed signs of significant damage to its weapons arrays. Incoming transmission, Ilias announced with surprise. It's from the damaged collective ship. A face appeared on screen, humanoid but with metallic components integrated into pale flesh. Its eyes were solid black orbs without pupils. Human vessel, it spoke in a flat, synthesized voice. Your actions defy logical analysis. You risk extinction for a species not your own. Explain your inefficiency. Maya stood tall, facing the screen. That's humanity for you. We don't calculate odds when lives are at stake. We act. We help. And we don't take kindly to those who prey on the defenseless. Your resistance is meaningless. The collective cannot be defeated. Maybe not today, Maya replied. But you should know that humans are very, very good at sharing information. Every independent ship in this sector now knows about you. Every human outpost and colony will soon have your ship signatures. And humans don't forget those who threaten us or our allies. As if on cue, the sensors detected new arrivals. 3 human vessels dropping out of FTL. They weren't military ships but independent vessels like the Helios, crewed by humans who had answered Maya's call without hesitation. The collective ship's response came after a long pause. This encounter has been unexpected. The human variable requires reassessment. The transmission cut off abruptly, and the damaged collective vessels began to retreat. Cheers erupted across the Helios' bridge. Maya felt Lizara's hand on her shoulder, a gesture the alien must have learned from observing the humans. You have done the impossible. Lizara's thoughts conveyed awe. No species has ever deterred the collective. We just showed them that their efficiency calculations need to include a new factor, Maya replied. The human factor. As the other human ships approached, Maya knew this was just the beginning. The collective would return eventually, with greater numbers and adapted tactics. But now they would face not just the Vorith, but humanity as well. A species whose greatest weapons weren't technology or numbers, but creativity, determination, and an unwavering commitment to standing against overwhelming odds. The signal of distress that had reached across the stars had been answered, not with resignation or logical calculation, but with the unpredictable courage that defined humanity. And in doing so, they had changed the galaxy's balance of power forever. The Vorith would spread word of what they had witnessed today, and other species would learn what the collective now knew. When humanity answers a call for help, they bring with them the most powerful force in the universe, the absolute refusal to accept defeat.